Lifestyle photography is one of the biggest photography trends right now. We know that there's product photography, e-commerce photography, but what is lifestyle photography exactly, and why is it so popular? I'm sure we've all heard of the term UGC. Well, think of UGC from professionals. People love to see products in use in real life environments, and they like to see how they can actually incorporate something into their real life. So what would that look like for, let's say, a skincare product? Well, that would be pictures of it in a bathroom with someone holding it. You want to create the vibe and the feeling that the target audience is going to want to feel when using this product. Whether it's a fun, vibrant body cream or an elegant, expensive, and luxurious face cream, the entire scene you create should stem from the product. So what kind of equipment do you need for lifestyle photography? Well, us being professionals, we use a Sony a7 III, which is a digital camera. However, cell phones have exceptional camera quality these days, and you would be perfectly fine using one of those. If you're like us and you prefer to use a professional camera, then there are two lenses that I would always recommend bringing with you. The first one being a portrait lens, which is going to be 50 to 85 millimeters. This is going to give you a nice comprehensive view of the scenery while still keeping the focus on the product. We also love to bring a macro lens. This is any lens 90 to 100 millimeters to get those really intricate close-up detailed shots. For our portrait lens, we use a Zeiss 40 millimeters, and for the macro lens, we use the Sony 90 millimeter lens. We also like to bring artificial lighting with us whenever we're going to an indoor location shoot. Now, if you're outdoors, I wouldn't really recommend bringing any kind of lighting, maybe some diffuser panels or something to manipulate the light, bounce it around, diffuse it. But if we're shooting an interior shot, I don't always rely on the sun being out or there being enough window light to even light the scene properly. So because of that, we like to bring our Godox FV150 studio lights with us, and we always bring a series of modifiers, whether it's diffuser panels or a gobo to make a window shadow on the wall. All of these things help us to manipulate the environment and get the most out of our scene. When you have to shoot 10 images in one bathroom, you have to get a bit creative with the different angles that you're using. So having the ability to manipulate our main light to make it look like a window shadow, to make it look soft, make it look hard, really gives us variety when we're shooting on set. And since we're not in a typical studio, the gear that we have with us might be a bit more limited than what we're used to. So we like to travel with compact items, which means we can't always tether our camera to a laptop. So to make sure that we are still creating dynamic scenes that are straight and tidy, we turn on the rule of thirds grid in our camera. That way we always have the grid lines there and use that as a point of reference when styling our images. You can also turn on grid lines on an iPhone and click the link down below to check out our blog article. It'll tell you exactly how to enable the grid lines on your Sony a7 III and on an iPhone. Now, should you be using props when you're shooting a lifestyle shoot? The answer to that is it depends. Are you shooting out in the woods or are you shooting in a bathroom? Are you creating some kind of environment or are you keeping it pretty organic? If we're shooting inside, we love to use props. We don't use a bunch of props because we try to make things as realistic as possible. So for example, these bathroom shots here, we literally just added like a little vanity tray and a shadow. We didn't do too much because it's supposed to be a simple bathroom. If you are shooting in a shower, you might want to consider getting a loofah or some kind of body wash maybe spilled over in the background. These are all different things that are helping to cue the audience in as to where the location is. So remember, your props should never take away from the product. They are only meant to help build the picture of what your scene actually is from a quick glance. In 3 seconds, the person viewing your image should know exactly where you are and not be stuck trying to piece it all together. Now that we have all the pieces to capture the image, the final step is your camera settings. It's important to understand your aperture, ISO, and shutter speed. That way you can control every aspect of your shot. When it comes to skincare bathroom images, for example, we like to shoot with a lower f-stop. That way we have a little bit of blur in the background, giving us more of an elegant, elevated feel. If you're using any hand modeling work, then having a lower f-stop can help draw the attention to just the hand and nothing else in the background. You can also focus on just a product texture, and the possibilities are really endless. If we're shooting outdoors, sometimes the background can be a bit distracting and you need to blur out all the trees, or maybe there's buildings that don't quite blend with what you're trying to photograph. And when you're able to blur it, you can really hide what's going on in the background. If you want even more details, tips, and advice, I would check out our blog article, Beginner's Guide to Lifestyle Photography, down in the description below. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and check out this video, and I will see you over there. Bye!